So, a couple of days ago, I was really excited on the State of Decay 2 stream because I got to announce that we were releasing the Critical Response Pack. Now, it's one of our older packs. It's one of our older bounty packs. And it was kind of hotly anticipated because as we sort of moved the schedule around as new packs arrived, it kind of got delayed a little bit longer than most packs do. And so there was sort of a pent-up energy for it. And so, we were actually planning on riding that energy a little bit. We had some new content that was going to arrive with that pack, and we were hoping, because we're doing a little bit of an uncharacteristically long delay between updates right now. You folks have gotten used to us doing monthly updates like clockwork for a really long time, and now we're working on something big in the background that we haven't announced yet, and so there's going to be this uncharacteristically long delay. And so I was really excited because we were going to be dropping the Critical Response Pack right in the middle of that delay and giving something to, tide players over until something really big and new arrives later on this year. But you'll notice I'm talking about all of this in the past tense because after the stream where I announced it was a Critical Response Pack, we got a bunch of reports from players. So players were actually going up to the Bounty Pack, particularly Xbox players, were going up to the Bounty Broker, interacting with him and seeing that actually he was announcing that the Plunder Pack was going to be the next pack. And that was a surprise. So normally we have this announcement section over here on the Bounty Broker that tells you what pack is coming next. The problem is, when I'm playing the game, I never check it because I know what pack is coming next. I helped plan which pack was coming next. So I wasn't looking at this. And kind of no one was looking at this. And we didn't realize that the game has been announcing all month that the Plunder Pack is the next pack on the Xbox. And so people brought that to our attention, and I got into my game here. The reason I'm here in my save game is because I went looking for it. We looked at it, we're like, you're right, it is saying that the Plunder Pack is next. Why is that? Our plan was to release Critical Response in April. We had built up a social media campaign advertising the new content that was dropping with it. Our next stream, we were planning for it to be all about the new content. And it said that the Plunder Pack was coming, and so we did some research, and it turns out that we did not realize that there's a difference between the way the PC works and the way the Xbox works. And I'm not going to be able to explain it technically very well. We're actually, on the next stream, we're going to have one of our programmers come on and explain it better than I can explain it. But essentially, there's a couple of different ways we can update the game. One of them is to issue a formal update that goes through certification and this big elaborate QA process to issue an official update to the game. But we can also make smaller changes just to game data. And basically, as I understand it, the way it works is when you start up the game, it checks on the internet, is there some new game data for me? And if there is new game data, it pulls the game data down. And that process doesn't have to go through certification. It lets us make smaller changes to the game. It lets us update the announcements on the front page, for instance, stuff like that, without needing to go through the entire elaborate updating process. The problem is the Bounty Broker and which bounties he has to offer. On the PC, he updates after we pull down that extra data. But on the Xbox, he updates before we get that data. So we had been, trying out different potential schedules for the Bounty Broker. And the one that was, the one that the Xbox last was able to use is one where the Plunder Pack was arriving in April. But the PC was showing that the Critical Response Pack was landing in April. And so that was going to be a problem because, we had been planning everything around our final plan, which was for Critical Response to land in April. But if we let it land like that, with one pack landing on the PC and one pack landing on the Xbox, we've got some players who play on both platforms who, basically keep bouncing back and forth, and they use the same save for both. And if we let two different packs arrive that way, those players would probably lose progress every time they switched. And that was untenable. We were not going to allow that to happen. And so, unfortunately, what we had to do was update that online data that the game relies on so that the version that the Xbox had last pulled down was the version for both platforms. And so that means that even though PC players have been seeing the Critical Response Pack being the one that was announced, both platforms had to get the Plunder Pack instead. because we were not going to be able, like, because it was. This is the thing that was tough. We didn't anticipate that the very tool that we used to update the schedule was going to be the thing that had a glitch. So that not only was the wrong pack in place, the tool we would use to fix it was also broken. So this is frustrating for me for a couple of reasons. One reason is I was really looking forward to releasing the Critical Response Pack right now. That pack has got new content in it. It's, it was actually kind of important to the strategy that we had to, tiding people over and keeping people feeling like, oh yeah, the game is making progress. Because, there's a lot of people, every time we release an update, there are very clever people on the internet who their first response is, oh, well, this is going to be the last update that State of Decay ever does. They're done. Everybody else is moving on to the next game. Nobody is ever going to see any new updates for State of Decay 2 ever again. There are people who say that every single time we release an update. And you'd think that, a full year of monthly updates and us constantly saying, we're still, this game is very much alive, we're still working on it, you'd think that would make a difference. It doesn't. There's always some cynic who just wants to say that we're done. And so, I really like the idea that we were going to be demonstrating clearly, no, we're still working on this game, and there is big stuff still coming in the future. We are hard at work on some things that we can't talk about yet, but that I think are going to be really exciting to the audience. We don't want to lose people's attention, when we're getting very close to being able to actually announce something big and exciting. So it's annoying on that level. But it's also annoying to me on another level, which is I personally announced that it was going to be the Critical Response Pack a couple of days ago on our stream. And so the last thing I want for people to know that when they hear me tell them something on the stream, it's going to be true, that they're going to be able to rely on what I tell them. And so the last thing I want is to announce something on the stream and then have to go back on it again. So that's very frustrating to me. But then there's a third layer of annoyance, which is this is happening on April 1st. And so all of those, very clever, cynical people on the internet, they're all going to assume we did this on purpose. They're going to assume that we think we're funny and that we're, going to be doing a practical joke on April 1st, announcing the wrong pack and then disappointing a bunch of players who were really excited about Critical Response coming back. And so I just wanted to say definitively, that's not true. We've actually kind of had a long-standing policy at our studio dating back to our original community manager, Sonia, who absolutely hates April Fool's Day on the internet. And she's like, we are never participating in this. Other people can have their weird games. We are going to always tell our players the truth. We're always going to give them accurate information and let other people try to play jokes on them. We're going to take this seriously. This job of communicating with our players, we're going to take it seriously. That's not the language she used. That's the way that's sort of my take on it. She would probably explain her attitude in a completely different way, but that's how I think of it. I want this channel of communication, or the official channels of communication. This is just my personal stream. But me as a channel of communication, I want me to be reliable. So, the last thing I would ever want to do is a practical joke with my integrity as a spokesman for the company. That's not a funny joke to me. So, anyway, but of course, if you're going to have a big, stupid, accidental technical error, April 1st, that's the most annoying possible time to have it happen. So, anyway, that's the explanation as best I can manage. We're going to talk about this on the official State of Decay 2 stream next week. We're going to run around getting Plunder Pack bounties. And by the way, I do have to say, if you're going to have the wrong pack land on a given month, the Plunder Pack is a pretty good one. It's actually look at this guy. He's wearing this Kraken hoodie. It's the Plunder Pack is our Sea of Thieves tie-in. It's actually full of really cool, weird weapons, weird art, weird. There's a purple vehicle, a really fast muscle car you can drive around. There's a lot of really cool stuff in that pack. So, if you're gonna make a mistake and drop the wrong pack, Plunder Pack is not a bad pack to do that with. But it's not the pack that we announced, and it's not the pack that we planned for, and so so I'm still annoyed. but I gotta say, it really was not the fault of any particular individual. This is a thing. None of us knew that this was going to happen. None of us realized that this was the order of operations. That this was, we we banked a lot on this working the way that we intended to. So there's nobody who I blame for this. It's the kind of, dumb mistake that just creeps in whenever you're working on something that's this complex. And so if it hadn't been this, it would have been something else. You can never 100% avoid stuff like this. So when I say that I'm annoyed at fate. I'm annoyed at circumstance. I'm annoyed, if anyone, at myself for the fact that I never actually, while the game was live in March, I never went over and looked at this tab on the Bounty Broker. Because if I had, I would have asked some questions about it, because I've been really aware and really excited about the fact that we were releasing Critical Response this month. And so I would have been like, is this right? But unfortunately, because I thought I knew things, I thought that I knew what pack was coming, I never bothered to check. So there you go. So if I'm annoyed at anybody, I'm annoyed at myself. But really, I'm just, I'm annoyed at circumstance. I wanted this to go differently. So basically right now, because we've already got our updates planned going forward for, some distance in the future. We're kind of stuck with this old schedule. And so what this old schedule says is that the Critical Response Pack lands in August, which is too long. I don't remember the month, what month it last appeared in, but that is too long to wait for the Critical Response Pack. And so I'm really sorry for players who were really excited about that pack in particular, and really wanted it to come out. The plan was for it to come out today. And so the fact that it didn't, it was a mistake on our part, and we're really, really sorry for it. And it is definitely going to come out in August. And then, I've already sort of put some plans in motion to make sure that the final schedule that we actually have, particularly once we add the 12th bounty pack, which has got to happen at some point because this is supposed to be a monthly thing, and the last thing we want is all the packs creeping around the year by a month once we set the final cycle in motion. At some point, we're going to add a 12th pack, and when we make that final update to the schedule, we're putting Critical Response in April where it belongs. And so that means that even though you had a ridiculously long wait until this August to get the Critical Response Pack, the next wait is going to be way, way shorter because it's going to land in April. So hooray. And it's also going to have some additional content in it. I mean, that plan is still in place. It's still coming. So enjoy that. But yeah, I guess that's the whole story. So, this is going to be a short video because I'm only making it for one reason, to give this explanation. We'll move on to doing something else on my stream, those of you who are watching me live. I have been ignoring my chat because I've got this, spiel that I wanted to give. So let's see. Let me catch up a little bit, see if there's anything else I want to that I want to address. We got a lot of support in the chat, actually, which is really, really nice. So Cloudcraft says, I really feel for you right now. Thank you. I appreciate that. And let's see here. Oh yeah, so we've got some people rolling eyes about people who, who are naysayers on our community pages. The people who always say that our support of the game has just ended, who want to be clever about it. And honestly, like when we sunset this game, we will let you know. We'll let you know. The last thing we want is for people to be waiting on Tinderhooks for us to release some update that never comes, right? Like when we are ready to formally stop supporting this game with updates, we'll tell you. And it won't be any mystery. It won't be, players having to sort of cleverly figure it out on their own. We're going to let you know that that's what's going on. And you'll be able to get reliable information from us. And we will not do it on April 1st, okay? We'll pick a different date when you know that you can listen to anything that you hear. I guess that's not true. The internet is never fully reliable. April 1st is just a day when it's honest about it, honestly. But, yeah. So No On My says, I've never had the Plunder Pack, so I'm happy. Well, good. And that's the thing. It is one of our best packs. Like I said, if you're going to screw up and put the wrong pack in, Plunder Pack is actually kind of a cool one. It's got, actually, let me show you a little bit about what's in this pack.
Hello, my friend.
Because it's got, let's see here, a Buccaneer bandana. That's actually, it's a pretty cool, it's a bandana that goes over somebody's head. It's covered in skulls. It's a really nice one, and it actually goes with practically any costume and makes someone look like a badass. It's one of my favorite outfit pieces. We got the Kraken hoodie, which is what I'm wearing right here. It's based on the art of the Kraken in Sea of Thieves. What else have we got? We've got the The naval tricorn. Yeah, it's a three-cornered hat. It looks pretty cool too. The pirate jacket. Again, yeah, just some badass outfits. The bilge rat shovel. It's a cool melee weapon. The dead man's cutlass, though. I've got a special place in my heart for cutlasses because the reason we added a cutlass to the original State of Decay was because my daughter asked us to add a cutlass. And so I feel a special connection to having cutlasses in the game. The Sea Dog Blunderbuss. This is like a fancy, overpowered shotgun that looks like a fancy old pirate weapon. We've got the Spyglass Rifle, which is it's a 50 cal sniper rifle. You can't have too many of those. And then the Megalodon, which is a massive muscle car. So I'm gonna head back home to my base because this character is out of gas. Both he'll be out of gas pretty soon, and personally he's out of stamina. So yeah, Stealthy Assassin points out that people, it's a tradition on the internet for people to claim that a game is dead for years until it's actually dead. So yeah, they've been saying that about our game for, basically ever since we released Daybreak, because we, from day one we promised that Daybreak was coming, and so they knew that was happening. But then, yeah, basically from the, Zed Hunter update to Choose Your Own Apocalypse to all of these updates, we just keep surprising people by still being here. But yeah, we've got a team of people who are all working really hard on some stuff that, the reason that we've kind of gone dark with updates for the past little while, it's not because the game is dead, it's because we're working on one of our largest updates we've ever done. And so it's kind of the opposite of the game being sunsetted. It's actually, what we're adding is becoming more intense, not less. So, yeah, so this is, yeah, what's coming is probably going to be some of the biggest stuff we've done since the Juggernaut edition. So, unfortunately, that's about all. I mean, that's all I can say. We're doing big stuff. Big stuff is coming. I can't tell you what any of the big stuff is because that's kind of the way it works. We save that stuff until, we can sort of announce it properly. We want to do trailers. We want to do streams where we sort of walk you through everything when you can see it actually in the game working and looking really good. So, so we'll wait until then. We'll wait until we can, make a big splash with it in order to, actually announce the thing. But the main point that I want to make is we're still here. We're still doing updates. And this, this update to the Critical Response Pack was meant to be a way to communicate that. It was meant to be, here's some new content. We're still working on this game. Stick with us. There's big stuff coming. And it doesn't get to do that. So I'm just going to, tell you now. Big stuff is coming. You should stick with us. We're excited about it. It just occurred to me. Okay, so I thought while I was over there with the bounty broker, I attempted to grab that car, and it just occurred to me that I didn't actually notice it here. I might have messed it up. Because, yeah, you are supposed to be able to grab another copy of that car whenever you want to by spending influence. But actually, I've still got all of my influence. So I must have screwed it up. I must have not actually grabbed it properly. That's fine. I've got another muscle car here. It's cool. Randoth Cord says, yeah, Dead Game has been a meme in the Payday 2 community since like 2015, and it just got more content a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, basically, I think what people are doing when they say that a game is dead is they want to be clever, right? They want to come across as clever, and so what they're doing is they're making a gamble. If they say the game is dead every single time there's an update, that means that at some point they're going to be right. If they make that bet every single time, eventually every game will get sunsetted. If it's at the heat death of the universe, every video game is eventually gonna go away. And so if they just keep making that bet, eventually they'll get to say, "See, I told you so. The game is sunsetted, and I was right." And no one remembers the fact that they predicted it every single month for, for years, and we're wrong every other time. But whatever. Oh, Magic Man says, reminds me that I haven't actually done the bounty for it. So, that's right. I forgot. So, because it is a bounty pack that I have done before, I was imagining, oh yeah, this is one I've done before. I should be able to buy it. But of course, that's not how it works. When your bounty pack comes back from retirement, you start over from scratch. I got to earn it again. And I'm still in the middle of earning some other bounties. And in fact, honestly, I'm probably not going to work on the Plunder Pack initially because, it's going to be the one that stays in the bounty broker's inventory the longest. And so it's way less of an emergency for me to earn those bounties than to earn the other ones that are going to disappear sooner. So yeah, anyway, so there I go. Is it any wonder that I didn't notice this glitch until people announced it on the internet? Because I barely understand my own game when I'm just playing it normally. Anyway, yeah. So no one might says the blunderbuss sounds cool. It is cool. It is actually when we were running around when Zoe made the update to the shotguns a few months ago. That was the one that I would test the update with all the time because it was one of the most fun shotguns to fire. And if any shotgun needed to be cool after the shotgun update, it needed to be that one. So. Last game is in YouTube chat saying that they're waiting for State of Decay 3. Well, you're going to be waiting for a while. We announced that game and we've said nothing else about it because it is still, it's very early in the process. We wanted people to know that that's what we're working on in the background in addition to State of Decay 2. But it's going to be a while, so, don't hold your breath. In the meantime, the State of Decay 2 team is here to give you updates and to keep this game growing and getting better. So I guess that's my last message. So thank you all for bearing with me while I sort of shared this weird story about things going wrong. And especially thank you for everyone for being really patient with us as the Critical Response Pack takes way longer to come back than we ever intended. But yeah, enjoy the Plunder Pack. Thank you again, and I'm really looking forward to being able to share the update that we made to the Critical Response Pack. We'll have to do that in August. In the meantime, if you'd like to hear, more confessions and mea culpas in the future, you can subscribe to my channel, and, I'll put up some other State of Decay 2 related videos, and you can click on those if you want to. Those of us who are with me live, we're going to go on and we're going to play something else.